All right, welcome back. This is chapter 4, and this is our second go-round. So welcome back a second time. I forgot to hit record just a minute ago, and Felix and I just did this whole thing. So thanks for being here. As always, these videos are never monetized, and our goal is simply to help you become a better performer and entertainer. If you want to support what we're doing, go to vulpinecreations.com. That's all the promotion we'll do. We're going to dive right into chapter 4, which is really regurgitation of chapter 3. He says a lot of the same stuff. There are some kind of nuggets of gold at the end, but I'm Adam.
And I'm Felix. So that was the fastest intro you ever did. We're really trying to short down these videos to more easily digestible sizes. We are still figuring out how to do this properly. So bear with us. Chapter 4 is, or has the title, The Things Big Audience Really Buy. And as Adam already stated, chapter 4 is basically what did you say?
Regurgitation.
Regurgitation, that's a very difficult word. It's a regurgitation of the last chapter, which was what the audience really wants. And I think Fitzkee is hammering on this point so heavily because he wants you to remind you what tools are at your disposal at all times, like music, like modulation of your voice, like posture, pacing, and so on and so on. And that's why he compares your magic show to movies in the cinema, to theater plays, to rock shows, and all the other things, because many of those ingredients are shared between all those options. So after giving you a good overview about what you have at your disposal, he sums it up in 5 bullet points and brings this chapter home by explaining what's really important when it comes down to crafting your show.
So a lot of it is emphasizing the idea of who we're up against. It's us or other forms of entertainment, whether that's radio, where they use sound bites. If you want to get some good ideas on sound bites, listen to NPR and listen to the stories on NPR. There are podcasts where they tell stories. And all it is one person and their voice, but they use music beautifully to get from one scene to the next. And don't just go, oh, there's a music cue. What song are they playing? Why are they playing that song? Same exact thing. All they have is their voice and some sort of audio cue, and they do it very well, right? Movies, again, all they have is editing, lighting, audio, but they use it to the best of their ability. CGI, these are things that we don't have. We don't get the ability of CGI. But we do have lighting, we do have audio, we do have all of the stage sets. So we want a stage to look and feel a certain way. We can still use that as magicians, right? It's just going a bit above and beyond. If you want your background to look like an old prison dungeon because your character is a prisoner, well, you can do that. It's going to take some time and some effort, but you can put props on the stage that will give the illusion of you being in a dungeon or a prison, right? So we're trying to emphasize, overemphasize, this is the stuff we're up against. So we have to do at least as much, if not more, than all of them because they have tools that we don't necessarily have, like CGI, final edits, 15 takes for the same scene to make sure it's perfect. So at the end of him emphasizing the point that we have to step our game up if we want to compete with these forms of entertainment, he goes into these 5 bullet points, which I think are the meat and the potato. Felix pulled them out as this is what makes a good show, right? These are things that make a good show or make a bad show. So Felix, what are those 5 bullet points that he talks about here?
Well, he states, a well-executed show is characterized by no delays or fumbling, no excess movement or lines, everything means something, everything builds to a climax, and never too much, but just a bit too little.
Leave them wanting more. It's a great, people say it all the time, leave them wanting more. And bands will do it. They'll play 6 of their songs. They'll leave stage for 10 minutes, come back for an encore, and that's it. It's a great tool for magicians because we just want to perform, especially in those close-up settings. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. Whereas if you just did 3 tricks, walked away, wait an hour, and people go, oh, that was so cool. Okay, I have one more, and save your blockbuster for that. If you leave them wanting more, then that's exactly what they're going to want is more, whether that means they'll hire you for another event or you just give them enough break that they can enjoy it instead of overflowing them with magic. And, I was guilty of that in my early days of just more tricks. People are loving it. but at the end of it, they're drained, they're worn out, right? And they're not going to remember any of the tricks because you showed them so many. All they're going to remember is this guy showed a bunch of magic, right? If I showed 2 pieces of magic with the grand finale, they're going to remember them, right? They're going to remember in a sentence or two what those tricks were. So leave them wanting more is really important. Felix told me a story. Tell that story about Lenny Kravitz.
In the early 2000s, Lenny Kravitz toured Europe, and in his concert in Vienna, I was actually there. Great show, but he played solos with 25 minutes or more because he really felt the moment of this in this concert. Next day, newspapers headline was, "I got one more, the Lenny Kravitz show." Really sarcastic and mean, but it seems that they didn't really like 25-minute solos for each song.
That's what they took away from, one of the best in the world to ever do it was, let me play one more. So just by going a little too long, the entire concert and his skill wasn't mentioned, right? What was mentioned is he kept going.
It was diminished.
He kept going. So it's the same with magicians. They're not going to say, man, that bill was signed and ended up in an orange. They're going to say it was a 2-hour show and man, I just wanted to get out of there. So always leave them wanting more. No fumbling, right? Make sure, I think that all of the other 5, delays and fumbling, no excess movements or line, everything means something and everything builds to a climax. That's all really about knowing exactly, trimming the fat, eliminating everything out of the show that doesn't add to the show. So if it's not building towards the climax of the trick or towards the theme of your show, get rid of it. There's no reason for it to be there. Absolutely nothing that isn't adding to the message, the theme, or the climax should be in your show. Movie scripts.
The best tip, you gave me the best tip on that. Record yourself, transcribe what you say, because then you can avoid that your mind wanders and you're just jazzing and ad-libbing it in the moment, and cut it down to only the necessary bits.
Yep. So even if you have a video recorder, you can run it through a program where it will transcribe every word said. First, you'll see how many times you say these weird words that shouldn't be in there. But then you can also just read through the script and go, what am I even saying there? And you'll notice a lot of times you're saying stuff out of nerves or because you don't have time blocked out. If I need to ditch something in my case, what am I going to say from when I go stage left to the center stage to ditch that? Yeah. And if you don't have that thought out and scripted out, you're just going to add something that doesn't add value to your show or to the effect. So if you watch or read your show, you'll start quickly seeing all the stuff that shouldn't be in there. And sometimes it's funny to read through because you'll be like, what? Did I really say that? Why did I say that? But it's really just about trimming down everything that's unnecessary. So Felix mentioned pocket management. Is that a big part of it? And absolutely. Like in my show, I'll finish a trick. I'll go to the case and I'll dump the trick into the case as I get the next trick. So that's unnecessary movement. Right? There's no reason I should be walking back to the center and back to my case. It's very much like saying, and for my next trick. Now, I'm not saying and for my next trick, but my body is saying that. So in my show, I should absolutely figure out a way to trim that fat. And that might just be pocket management. Can I put the props in a pocket where it eliminates me having to go back to my case to get the props again? These are things that I continue to work on. It's very easy to fall.
Yeah, and what can you ditch? What can you ditch when? And what prop do you need in which pocket, left or right, something like that, so to have easy access.
Yeah.
So you don't need to go through everything and try to find a Sharpie or a gimmick or whatever.
Yep.
Our friend from the UK, Craig Petty, has a great video on that on YouTube.
Pocket management.
Yeah.
Yeah. Craig's videos are great. If you guys don't know Craig or his channel yet, go look at it. It's Magic TV, I believe, is the name of the channel. Just type in Craig Petty and you'll
Magic TV with Craig Petty.
Amazing. I mean, he's a full-time worker, probably the most successful and busiest actual performing magician out there, if not the most, certainly one of the most, and just gives everything away. He gives exciting and interesting and unique tips, and great channel. Please do check him out.
We can put the link to this video in our description, right?
Yep. Perfect.
Cool.
So find it there. Check Craig out, support what he's doing. You'll learn a ton from him. But to close out this chapter, again, it's going to be short and sweet. It's really just about everything in your show's got to build to a climax. There should be nothing in the show that isn't thought out. It doesn't happen overnight, right? You got to record yourself doing shows over and over and then watch yourself doing shows and really look at it through an analytical eye. Don't look at it as, look how good I am. Don't look at it as, what are the audience reacting to? Just look at what you're doing and think to yourself, is that necessary? Is that building towards the overall theme of my show or the climax of this trick? And then have some trusted friends do the same. Show some friends that maybe aren't laymen that you can trust and say, what would make this better? What didn't you like? What was confusing? And then talk to some professionals, a director, somebody that you can trust to really critique and pull your show apart and figure out what's working and what's not. Make sure they're trusted friends, because you don't want somebody giving you bad advice. But once you find those, hold on to them, because they're worth their weight in gold. You're never going to perfect your show on your own. You only see it through your eyes and your lens. You need outside perspectives, people who have done this 10,000 times to look at it and really give you critique that you take and tweak your show with. All the books that we're going to dive into later, like Maximum Entertainment and things of that nature, they stress the importance of getting a director to look at your show, because they don't look at it as a magician. They look at it as a director, somebody who understands theater, drama, tension, and release, and they can give you advice that no magician friend will be able to. So it's really important to start building your circle of friends that can help you build out your show. And those friends really do need to make you want to see you succeed. I've gone so far as hiring directors, because I'm paying them for what they're good at. All they're looking for is to make my show the best they can, because in turn, they're getting paid for it. So if that's an avenue that you've got an option to do, go find a director. It doesn't have to be anyone who's ever looked at a magic show in their life. They're going to be looking at it from the eyes of a director. Is this good theater or not? And you'll be surprised. A lot of the stuff we do as magicians is terrible theater. I'll use myself as an example. Going back and forth to my case is terrible theater. I'm the first to admit that. It's laziness, right? I learned early on I could get away with it, and I've gotten into a bad habit. So if you're just starting out right now and you're building a show, you're in a good place, because you don't have to make the mistakes and then later on try and break those mistakes. It's a lot easier to start right than to fix something that you've done for years wrong. So
yeah. I think this is a very important point, and to make changes as painless as possible, change before it becomes habit.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that pretty much sums up chapter 4. There's not a lot of meat in here, but definitely don't forget those main 5 bullet points, because they are very important. And just keep remembering, we're going up against everything that is a form of entertainment. And they have a lot more tools under their belt. We have magic. We have the ability to put people in a moment of astonishment through what we do inherently. But that doesn't mean we don't have to pay attention to everything else. So that's up chapter 4. We'll see you on the next one. And as always, thanks for being here.